Hello students, once we know what is a phase diagram, what are the terminologies related to that one, what are the different types of phase diagrams which are existing for a binary components, we'll move on how we can interpret the phase diagrams. Okay, so in the previous class we have seen how to construct a phase diagram for a completely soluble in a solid as well as in the liquid. So now once again we'll recall those things and we'll move on by taking a numerical how we can interpret the phase diagram. So this is a phase diagram which consists of a series of cooling curves, and this type of cooling phase diagram is applicable for a two component system which are completely soluble in a liquid as well as in the solid. So as we discussed in the previous class, the cooling curve for a pure metal A and B, okay, you can see, so it starts freezing at a temperature, okay, called freezing temperature, and the temperature remains constant, and then the temperature starts decreases. But so when we have a mixture of two components, so the temperature will not remain constant. Why? Because so A may start solidifying at a temperature different than the B. So the latent heat of fusion so will be slope. It's not a straight line. It will not remain constant. So depending upon number the fraction of A and B, say here A is 100, so obviously B is 0. So the cooling curve will be like this. So when we have a as 80%, B as 20%, the cooling curve will be like this. So like that, for a different fraction, the start and end solidification, this is the start points and these are the end points of solidification will differ according to the fraction. And when you move on to the right side, so we have a A0, okay, and B as a 100%. So the cooling curve will be replicating of a like a, okay. And now once you join the melting point of A to the left, the melting point of B to the right, and all the starting point of solidification, okay, all the start point of the solidification, we call that one as a line as a liquidus line. So liquidus line is a line above which the phase of the material will be in the liquid, okay. And so this line corresponding to the end of solidification, okay. So all the points which are of end of the solidification will joined by a curve, and this line is a solidus line below which the phase of the material is in a solid state, okay. So in between these two lines, that is a liquidus and a solidus, so it's a mixture of a liquid and a solid solution, liquid and a solid solution. So now if you want to know what are the phases which are present at a different temperature and different pressure, okay, so we use a rule called Gibbs phase rule. So means in order to find out what are the phases, okay, which are present at any moment of pressure and temperature, so we use a rule called Gibbs phase rule. So Gibbs phase rule states that P plus F is equal to C plus 2, where P is nothing but a number of phases, okay. So F is nothing but a degrees of freedom, and C is nothing but a number of components, and 2 is a two factors, that is a independent variables, okay. So here we consider pressure and temperature as a two independent variable. So by using this formula at any point of contact in the phase diagram, we can easily find out the unknown, okay. So if we know what are the number of phases, what are the number of components, and the two variables, easily we can find which are the independent variable which we can control without varying the phases which are present at that moment. Okay, so number of phases, number of components, so degrees of freedom, and two system variables. And now normally whenever we are going to have a phase diagram, so normally we will be knowing what are the number of phases, what are the number of components, okay, and we need to know what are the independent variable which we can control when it comes to the phase diagram. And whenever we are constructing a phase diagram, normally we take a pressure as a constant, that is a 1 atmospheric pressure. So now these two will get reduced to the 1. Okay, so P plus F is equal to C plus 1. Okay, so where the independent variable will reduce to the 1. Okay, sorry, the system variable will reduce to the 1. So easily we can find F will be equal to C minus P plus 1. C minus P plus 1, where so for a binary system number of components will be 2. At any point if the number of components phases which are present will be equal to 2, then 2 minus 2, so the independent variable F will be equal to only 1. So either it is a temperature or a pressure. So once we know what is the Gibbs phase rule, that is P plus F is equal to C plus 1. So we'll now see how we can apply the Gibbs phase rule in a phase diagram to find the number of phases or the number of degrees of freedom. So let's take an example. Okay, so a phase diagram where the two components are completely soluble in liquid as well as in the solid. So now just take an example of a temperature T1. So if you drop an horizontal line here, okay, and if you take any composition, say 20, 80, 40, 60, okay, so wherever you are going to take it here, so the number of phases which are present at this moment will be only 1, that is a liquid phase, and this is a binary phase diagram, so the number of components are 2. Okay, so now we have P plus F will be equal to C plus 1, where P will be equal to 1, okay, plus F will be equal to 2 plus 1. Okay, so F will be equal to 3 minus 1, so it will be equal to 2. Okay, so what we can understand here is, okay, so by this point if you take any line at a temperature T1 for any fractions here, okay, so on this line, okay, the number of phases which are present are equal to 1, that is only one liquid. Okay, and this is a binary diagram, so components are 2. Okay, so now if you write P plus F will be equal to C plus 1. Okay, so P number of phases 1, okay, plus F will be equal to components are 2 plus 1, so F will be equal to 3 minus 1, so it could be equal to 2, means so independent variables are 2, that is temperature and pressure. So if you take any temperature, vary the temperature here, okay, or the pressure here, the number of phases will not be altered at this moment. Okay, so that is the degrees of freedom at this moment are 2. Now if you take the temperature T2, and if you drop a line here, okay, and if you take the intersection point here and intersection point here, okay, so in between these 2 points the number of phases which are present, P will be equal to 2, and the number of component will be equal to 2, that remain constant. So P plus F, that is 2 plus F will be equal to 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1. So F will be equal to 3 minus 2, or F will be equal to 1. So the number of independent variable at this moment is only 1. So now in this region, that is the region where we have two components. The degrees of freedom are is having is only one. Either you can vary the temperature or you can vary the pressure. Okay, so if you keeping the any composition constant, say for example, if I take any composition here, if one point is fixed, okay, so now if I'm going to take one composition here, okay, on this one, so I can vary the temperature. If I vary the temperature, okay, the number of phases which we are going to have are different. Okay, so that is by controlling the, by fixing any one variable, okay, we can control the compositions which are present at that moment. So only we normally say, okay, so components 2, phases 2, so degrees of freedom is only 1, that is at a temperature T2, that is in this region where we have a liquid plus a solid. And if I take any temperature T3, okay, anywhere here, okay, so the number of phases P is equal to 1, okay, so components are 2, so F will be equal to 2. Okay, means you can observe clearly here, wherever we are going to have a phase 1, only the single phase mixture, then the degrees of freedom are 2. But when we have a two phases, mixture of two phases, then the degrees of freedom is only 1. So means by using this Gibbs phase rule, easily one can find the number of degrees of freedom, or by knowing the degrees of freedom, one can easily find what are the different phases which are present at that moment. Okay, yeah, once we know the Gibbs phase rule, which we apply for interpretation of a phase diagram, to know the number of phases which are present at a given point of a composition, temperature, or maybe pressure. And the next important thing is a lever rule. Lever rule is to find the composition of a solid or the liquid which is present, and also the amount of liquid and solid which is present at a particular temperature. So now a lever is nothing but will be having a one arm, okay, one end. So if I take it is balanced by a fulcrum. Okay, so if I take the overall length of a lever as a 1, okay, and if I take this distance, the fulcrum distance from M2 is a x, the remaining will be 1 minus x. Means in order to balance the weight which is on the M1, so we need to put a weight on the M2. Okay, so similarly, in order to balance the mass or the weight on a M2, we need to put on a weight on the M1. Okay, so normally what we write is if I take the overall length as a 1, okay, overall length as a 1, and the distance from fulcrum to the M2 as a x, the remaining will be 1 minus x. Okay, so if I want to find the amount here, okay, the amount of load which you want to put it on this one, so we need to stand here, okay, and we'll write this as a 1 minus x divided by 1, okay, the length of the opposite arm divided by overall length of the arm. Similarly, if I want to find what the amount should be balanced on M2, I need to stand on a M1, then I will write this one as a x divided by 1. Means when I'm going to stand here, the length of the opposite arm will be this much, that is a x divided by 1. Okay, so that is what lever rule is. Lever rule is okay, the length of the opposite arm divided by overall length of the arm. Okay, so how exactly we are going to apply this one in calculating the amount of solid and liquid at any given temperature or the composition, we'll see by taking an example of a binary phase diagram. Okay, so again this is the phase diagram which is there for two components, that is A and B, which are soluble in both liquid as well as in the solid. So already we know, okay, so at a given temperature we can easily find the number of phases and the degrees of freedom by using a Gibbs phase rule. Okay, by taking the composition on the x-axis. Okay, so suppose if I take a temperature T1, okay, so we already know here there is a only a liquid which is present at this moment. Okay, we can say it is a 100% liquid, okay, which consists of an alloy composition of 40 and 60. So if I take a composition 40-60 and if I take a temperature T1, so this is the intersection point, and easily we can say here the number of phases which are present is only one, that is a liquid. Okay, so if I take a temperature T2, if I take a temperature T2, if I drop a horizontal line here, if I draw a horizontal line here, that line we call it as a tie line. Okay, so this line we are going to call it as a tie line. So once we are going to drop this horizontal line, so we are going to concentrate the line at the intersection of liquidus and solidus line. So already we know liquidus line is the line above which the phase which is present is only a liquid. Solidus line is a one below which the phase which is present is a solid. Okay, now we'll consider only the intersection point, that is a O which is intersecting with the liquidus, and a P which is intersecting with the solidus. Okay, so that is what we say, that's a tie line. So now if I say what is the composition of a liquid, because see in between O to P the phases which are present are two, one is a liquid and one is a solid. But now here we need to know in liquid what is the composition of a or what is the percentage of A and a B. So in order to know that one, so at the intersection of a liquidus line you need to drop a vertical line downward, so that will give us some percentage. So here they have showed it is a 20 and 80. So similarly if you want to know solid composition, okay, so drop a vertical line from the intersection of solidus line downward and you will get a 90% A and 10% B. So already we know to the left side we take a 100% A and to the right we will take a 100% B. So once we draw the tie line we are going to concentrate only at the intersection of a liquidus and a solidus line, and once you take downward that vertical line, so the line at which it intersects with the x-axis, that is going to give the composition of a liquid and a solid respectively. Okay, that is a composition. Now we want to know what is the amount of liquid and a solid. So we know now what is the composition, what is the composition. Now we need to know what is the amount. So in order to find the amount, what we said, this is like a lever. Okay, so M point is the fulcrum. Okay, M point is a fulcrum. So now if I want to know what is the amount of solid, what is the amount of solid, then I need to stand, okay, on the solidus line, and then I need to find the overall length. Okay, say now amount of solid and liquid by taking the lever rule, by taking the lever rule. Say now amount of solid at M. Okay, so if I take at this point, so there is a liquid and solid. Now I need to know what is the amount of solid which is present. Okay, to know that one I need to stand on the solidus line. Okay, the intersection of a solidus line, that is at a P. So if I stand at the P, okay, the length of the opposite arm is a OM. Okay, the length of the opposite arm is a OM divided by overall length of the arm, that is a OP. OM divided by OP. So I want a solid. Okay, so stand on the solidus line and take a length of the opposite arm divided by length of the overall arm. So similarly in a reverse way, okay, if I want to say the amount of solid, that is a, if I take the percentage here, okay, so measure what is O to M by taking from here to here. So now I can say here it is a 20. Okay, so nearly it is 20. So OP is a 90 and 20. So 90 minus 20, it's a 70. Okay, so we can easily say 20 by 70. So it will come around 28.5 percentage. Okay, so now similarly if I want to find what is the liquid at point M, liquid at point M, so I need to stand at O. I need to stand at a O. So if I stand at a O, length of the opposite arm is a MP divided by overall length of the arm is a OP. Okay, so what is MP? So MP 90 minus a 40, that is a 50. 50 divided by 70. So how much you are going to get? You will get a 71.42. 71.42. So you can easily check out your answer by taking either this one, okay, 28.58. So 100 minus 28.58, it should give the value which you are going to get it here, because the total amount which is we are going to consider here is a 100%. Okay, so in the 100%, so amount of solid and amount of liquid should give the 100% mixture. Okay, so that's how exactly we're going to interpret the lever rule. So very important to know what is the composition which is present at that temperature to a given particular uh, temperature. Okay, so once we know that one, so we'll take one more example. So where we are going to take two components which are having a different melting point. Okay, so here we are going to drop a tie line with respect to the temperature T, and the composition they have given it's a 20 and 80. So we'll drop one horizontal line, the intersection is a M and O. Okay, and the alloy composition is a vertical line, that is a N. So we'll get a M, N and a O. The overall length of the arm is a MO, so that is 10, 26. So 26 minus 10 is a 16. Okay, so M1 length is a 20 minus 10, that is a 10, and NO length is a 6, that is a 26 minus a 20. So now if I want to know what is the amount of liquid which is present, so I need to stand at a O. I need to stand at a O. I need to say Mn divided by Mo, that is the amount of liquid. So amount of solid, I need to stand on the solidus line, that is a M. So by standing at the M, I need to say NO divided by MO. So how exactly we are going to get? You can see a liquid will be equal to Mn divided by Mo into 100. Solid standing at M, NO divided by Mo into 100. So by inserting all the values, so you can easily get a 62.5 and a 37.5. Now I need to know the composition, means come down from the M. So 10 and 90 is the composition of a solid, and from the O come down 26 and remaining 74 is the composition of a solid, composition of a liquid, so which is present at that temperature. Okay, so now in order to understand this one, let's take an example. Okay, so a two metal A and B have 100% mutual solubility. So now remember, 100% mutual solubility means, so you are going to get a phase diagram which is look like an I, either this way or this way, depending upon the melting point. That you need to remember. Okay, so whenever they say it is a 100% mutual solubility, so you need to remember the phase diagram comes like an I. Okay, then they have given the melting point of A is 800 and B is a 600. So A is I. So A is I means it will come like this only, because A we are going to take it to the left and B we are going to take it to the right. So obviously the phase diagram has to come like this only, because the melting point of A is higher than the melting point of B. Okay, so as we move on, details of start and end of the solidification, that is what is needed to construct the phase diagram. So we'll say, okay, so the composition they have given 90% A, 10% B, and the temperature at which it starts and the end they have given 798 to 750. So at a different composition, so we have a start and end of the solidification temperatures. Okay, so what they ask here, draw and label the reactions. Okay, label all the regions. Next, predict the number, type, relative amounts and concentration of phases present in an alloy composition 4860 at 720 degrees Celsius. Means we need to apply the Gibbs phase rule and a lever rule in order to find the amount of the number and relative amount and concentration of different phases which are going to present. So let's see like how exactly we are going to drop this one. Okay, So first thing is we need to know, okay, first we are going to take a one line to the left, that is a temperature, okay, and we will take a 10% as a 1 unit. Say choosing the right scale is a very important. We will take a x-axis, 1 unit is equal to 10%. So you can say here, if I say this is a 100% A means 90, 80, 70, 60 like that, and in a reverse way this is 100% B, where we'll take a 10, 100, 90, 80 like up to the 0. So this corresponding to the 100% A, that is a melting point of A will be coming on this line, and melting point of B will come on this line. Okay, so we can write these two are a temperature, and this is the composition which is in a percentage. That is what we have written. On the y-axis we are going to take 1 unit is equal to 50 degrees Celsius. So you can say 0, 50 up to 800. So 0, 50 up to 800. So you will get a square box, rectangular box. Okay, so where this is a very important, by choosing a right scale and a right temperature and composition on the x and y axis is a very important. So next thing is, this is what I said. So we'll take 100% A to the left, 100% B to the right. Okay, so next is we need to know what are the composition, what is the composition and what are the different temperatures. Say for example, if I take a composition, okay, 90% and 10%, before that one we need to mark the melting point of A and B. So melting point of A is a 800, put a mark here, and the melting point of B is a 600, put a mark here. Okay, so next step is taking the composition 90 and 10. So just don't draw the line, just say this is the line which is corresponding to the 90 and 10. So on this line you need to mark what is the start of the solidification, that is a 798. 798 is okay, will come here, and 750 will come here. Okay, so on that 90 and 10 you need to mark these two temperatures. Similarly, take the next one, 70% and 30%. So where that 70 and 30% will come here, on that line you mark these two temperatures, that is a 785 and a 705. So similarly, repeat the same thing for a 50-50, 50% A and 50% B, mark these two temperature, and 70-30, okay, mark these two temperature, and the last mark 650 and 615. Okay, so what and all we have done, we have done two melting points, and at each composition, given composition, mark the start and end point of the solidification. So once we do this one, okay, so join all these start points, okay, and all these end points. So you are going to get the phase diagram like this. Okay, so it looks like this. Now we need to say, so the above line is the start point of solidification, so that is the liquidus line. The below line is the solidus line, so below which are end of the solidification, below which it will be in a solid phase, and in between these two we'll write a L plus a S, L plus a S. Okay, so which is having a combination of a solid plus a liquid. So easily we can say now, say for example, if I take some 700-degree temperature, and if I take this alloy composition, so at this intersection of these two lines, I can say the number of phases which are present are 2. Okay, the number of components are 2. Then so pressure is maintained as a constant, the temperature is only one variable. So easily we can say, okay, P plus F will be equal to C plus 1. So 3 minus 2, that's only 1. So 1 is the degrees of freedom. So easily, so you need to mark these lines. Okay, so one can easily find what are the number of phases which are present at a given temperature and composition by looking at this one. Okay, so once you do this one, so first condition is done. Okay, where we have drawn a phase diagram, okay, with the given conditions, and we have labeled all the regions. Okay, so next thing is we need to take a, okay, so next thing is we need to say predict the number of phases, types of phases, relative amounts and concentration at an alloy of 40 and 60. Okay, so they have mentioned one alloy composition. So first thing is we need to say the temperature. They have specified one temperature, that is a 700 degrees Celsius. So first draw one horizontal line until intersects with the liquidus line. Just drop one horizontal line. So next thing is mention the alloy composition 40 and 60. So just drop one vertical line until it intersects with this horizontal line. So now we are going to get a tie line. Tie line is OMP. Okay, so intersection of a liquidus line, solidus line, and intersecting with the alloy composition. So we'll get a OMP. Okay, so now what are the number of phases which are present at this moment? So at the M point M, we can say number of phases are 2. Number of phases are 2, which is a liquid and a solid. So now what is the composition of a liquid? Okay, what is the composition of a liquid? So now easily we can find the composition of a liquid and a solid is a liquid is this one. Okay, so this is the liquidus line, and where exactly it intersects with the x-axis, that is nothing but a liquidus. So liquid composition is 25% A and 75% B. So this is the one. So solid means the line at which it intersects. If we drop that one to the x-axis, so we are going to get 68 and 32. Okay, for me we have got 66 and 34. So in the book it is 68 plus 32. So nearly you're going to get the same thing. Now to know the amount, okay, so to know the amount of liquid, so stand on the liquidus line at P. At P, now the formula will be OM divided by OP, that is the length of the opposite arm divided by overall length. So OM divided by OP. So if you count from year to year, you are going to get 28 divided by 43, that is the total amount. You are going to get a 65.11. Okay, so similarly, want to know amount of solid, stand at the solidus line and length of the opposite arm divided by length of the overall arm. So you are going to get a MP divided by OP into 100, that is nothing but a 34.89. Okay, 34.89. So this is how exactly you can calculate easily the amount of solid and liquid which are present at a given temperature and at a given alloy composition.